$8.95 for Ovechkin, $12 for Ariema, and $40 for Ray Carsillo.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carsillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Joined by my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, I'm doing well. I got the rundown, and you had missed something on here. Ladies and gentlemen, the day we are recording this, Ray Carsillo has made it to his 5th decade on this planet. 40 years old today. All the bitching, all the making fun of me being over 40, gone. Welcome, Ray, to pain and arthritis and joy, because we have to say that, or it really is not that way. Happy birthday, Ray. You're my best friend. I met you when you were 18. So our friendship has gone 22 years now. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ray.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. We are actually recording this today, folks, on my 40th birthday.
Who does that? Ray does that.
That's right.
I would do it too.
Never stop working. Never stop working.
Yeah, we love it. This is fun. We like doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Although we are going to be taking a break next week.
Yes, because Ray is not available because he's going on vacation.
With you
and my family. It's going to be so much better than anybody experienced. Forced vacation for both Ray and I. We'll be having these conversations, but not on the air.
No. And finally, your son Logan will get a chance to dethrone me in Smash Brothers
Redemption. You left him in tears.
Yes, as we were talking earlier before the show. For those who don't know, Logan wanted to play me in Smash Brothers the last time.
Go back even further. To February 4th. 2018, the day the Eagles won the Super Bowl for the first time. Ray gifted my then 4-year-old. The next day, he would be 4-year-old son.
Because I got my first video game console on my 4th birthday.
Yes.
So I got Logan a Nintendo Switch for his 4th birthday.
Yes, and we are now many, many years departed from that date. Ray has continuously beaten my son on the Switch at various games. And now Logan, who is 11 and entering his prime gaming years, is ready for a chance to not just contest Ray, but learn from Ray. That's the maturity that he has now that he did not have last time of, I want to learn. Yeah. But if he leaves the room crying, Ray, he's old enough now that's his to deal with. So I wish you the best.
Yes.
While I relax somewhere outside in the place that we're going.
The thing is that at this point, it's almost like Rocky, because at this point, like, he's been practicing, he's been playing, I'm playing everything else. I'm doing everything else. I'm not thinking about Smash Brothers. So he might come in and he might pull off the upset. He might he might dethrone me. It might be time. He might teach me a thing or two. We'll see what happens.
Well, his 12th birthday is just under a year away. I wonder what is out there that you might be able to get him, Ray. Well, I don't know, if there's a new system coming out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that later. Got a lot.
I wouldn't put that on you.
But I joked, we were joking earlier about how I feel like M. Bison, because like for when I beat you in Smash Brothers, it was the most important day of your life.
Might have been.
For me, it was a Tuesday.
It was. Yes. Hopefully, you don't have the same fate as he had. But speaking of people from European and Russian countries,
yes, we have a big show for you today.
That was a great segue.
We have a little bit of movie news, a lot of gaming news, some science, just general science that I think was really, really cool.
It's some geekdom. It counts.
Yes, absolutely. And we're going to touch on all the major sports, but we are going to kick things off with $8.95.
$8.95 as we speak today.
Yes, as of this moment, he is sitting at $8.95. There's still a very slim chance he could get to $900 before the end of the year, but unlikely. But Alexander Ovechkin is now the all-time goals scoring leader in hockey history. He did it against the Islanders. And Ilya Sorokin, and he did it from his office. He did it from the top of that left circle to the right of the netminder where he scored. Yeah, much like Gretzky's office was always right behind the net, Ovechkin's is that top of that circle. He scored the vast majority of his goals from there. He scored one more, and he, Lee, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. I mean, it's a phenomenal accomplishment and just well deserved. And yeah,
it's one of the biggest records in hockey, the scoring record in terms of goal scoring. Right? No one will ever catch Gretzky in the point record, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the idea that someone in this day and age was able to score 895 goals, who will get past 900 at some point, insane when you think about how the goaltenders have evolved and the equipment has evolved and things have evolved. It's truly an amazing accomplishment. Ovechkin himself has been saying for years that he didn't think this was really in play, but when he got close, I think after he broke his foot this year, he got real serious. And I mean, he has been a machine at his age. Not to mention the Capitals have completely rallied around this journey and what he's trying to do. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference. Going to have a playoff run here. But the thing I want to focus on, man, is just how, hockey's greatest surrounded this event in Gretzky and Ovechkin. Gretzky wearing a Gordie Howe pin, which is totally on par for Gretzky, just to support the previous goal scoring record. The NHL has done everything correctly this year, including this, just from the respect, the message that people are seeing. When you break a record like this, people watch, and just the accountability, the gratitude, the passing of the torch, the way it was done just set a really, really great example for everybody watching. A Canadian to a Russian in times where, that's not, outside of hockey, something that makes a lot of sense. But it really is just an amazing accomplishment that he was able to do it. I got to watch it with Logan, my son, live. I mean, I shouted when he scored. I mean, we were all on the edge of our seat waiting for this. And when they got that power, we just kind of knew something was about to happen.
Yep.
But congratulations to Alex Ovechkin, the greatest goal scorer in National Hockey League history. And I said it the other day that it will probably be a while before we see this again. There's only two players really on pace with enough runway to potentially catch him. And that is if they stay healthy, which is the biggest question mark. And it's Austin Matthews and obviously Connor McDavid are two players that are potential to fight for that record. Matthews is pacing with where Ovechkin was pacing at his age, but he's very young and a long career, and he also plays in Toronto. So there's that problem too.
Well,
amazing,
exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The NHL with Four Nations face-off, Ovechkin. This is going to go down. Last season was great. The NHL is figuring this out, and if they must be earning so many fans over the last 2 years, and rightly so. They've done this correct.
100%. I mean, and to your point about Matthews real quick, I mean, I think the one thing that is in favor of Matthews, you mentioned he's in Toronto, is that he's going to have longer off seasons than Ovechkin had because of it. He's never going to have a deep playoff run. Yeah. So whereas Ovechkin actually, want to kept. Yeah, I know.
We will see. I'll say this though. Ovechkin is from a genome standpoint a complete machine. Sometimes I think when you see Ovechkin standing next to like a normal person, you start to realize how big this dude is and how powerful he is. Yes. And genetics played into it. He broke this record in the same amount of games that it took Gretzky to break the original record, which is also insane when you think about it. The last thing I'll say too on this is just that, when you look at what Ovi's done, he still has one more record to break, which is the all-time hits record. Which he is on pace to do.
He'll probably do that next year.
Yeah. And the reason I keep bringing this up is that as of today, like Ovi has one more year on his contract, which he's expected to play next season. And then I think he pieces out back to Russia to play in the KHL. So I've been saying to people, you really should be enjoying him and Crosby because they're in the twilights of their careers right now. Yeah. And again, yes, we have the next wave of players already established. But Ray, for you and me, realistically, at least as adults, those are the first two NHL careers we've watched from start to finish as adults. When you're a kid and you see someone start, it's a little different. But we were there when Ovechkin and Crosby started, and we're going to be there when they're finished. I was at Crosby's first game, and I don't love admitting this, but I have been to many games where Ovechkin has scored on the Flyers, at least 10 goals probably. I've seen a lot of his goals for someone who's not a Capitals fan. So anyway, amazing achievement.
Yeah.
There have been some talks now, like where does this rank in greatest scorer in NBA history, home runs? I mean, look, I think home runs is number one for me in terms of like greatest like scoring accomplishment, which Barry Bonds holds. And I'm tired of putting an asterisk on that. He's the greatest hitter of all time, whether he was doping or not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right. I think right after that, it's this record. I think this is a much harder record than the NBA scoring record. Not saying that it's not hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody's, there's no goalie in the net. I know there's defense. Right. And then in football, I mean, it's a tough one, right? It's not touchdowns thrown. It's, maybe all-time rushing yards leader.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the single season record of 2,100 rushing yards maybe is up there. But like for football, it feels like it's bigger single season accomplishments.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe Jerry Rice with the all-time receiving record his yardage is similar to, or Emmitt Smith, right? Their yardage is similar in a way to what Gretzky was as a goal scorer in terms of like,
if I'm not mistaken,
they are to second place.
Like it would, if you wanted to do all-time points in football, it might be a kicker.
No, I think it is a kicker.
It's like football is a little bit of a different monster, but I will say that the NHL goal scoring record is probably the second hardest scoring record in sports, and I would say the hardest record to break in sports is the actual point record, which Gretzky has. I say it again. If Gretzky never scored a goal ever, he'd still be all-time leader in points in the NHL.
Yeah.
All right. There's this joke that he was a playmaker, not even a goal scorer, even though he's second all-time right now. My favorite thing that I saw the other day was that Wayne Gretzky is now one goal away from tying the all-time goal scoring record. I thought that was pretty funny because we haven't heard anything like that. But look, just closing this out. Ovechkin, amazing player. It's funny, Ray. I posted this video on my Instagram of these Calgary Flames podcast. They didn't make any sense, but they were ripping on Ovechkin. And after the video, I go out there and I kind of disagree with them and say, here's my thoughts. But like most Instagram people, they only watch the first 10 seconds of the video. So we get all this hate traffic on our post, which I don't mind because you're watching the video. And then I have to watch the whole video. Then we get double the views. That's how you use the algorithm for you.
There you go. Yeah. Also, just one quick point. Wanted to mention that you mentioned Crosby. Crosby, I think, just moved into fourth place all time for most points with a single franchise. So,
people talk about him with a goal record. I mean, I don't think that's even on his radar that he would even be interested in that.
No.
And that's if he keeps pace, which is going to be really hard. Look, when you look at the two, they're very different players. Ovechkin is a goal scorer. Crosby is much more of a point scorer.
Yeah.
Crosby has 3 cups. Ovechkin has 1. I don't know if we have to compare them. They're great generational players, and they did exactly what they were expected to do in the NHL.
Yeah, pretty much.
They're different players, though. I don't like.
100%.
I don't understand why people always feel like the need.
Well, because they came in at the same time, and obviously all the hype, right? Like, I mean, it's just.
Would you rather have? This is a fair question. Would you rather have 3 cups and be a top 10 all-time player, or 1 cup and the all-time goal scoring leader? That's an interesting question.
I mean, I think I would take 3 cups in top 10.
It's interesting because, it's not an argument. The discussion point that I keep making is a lot of people, a lot of teams have won the Stanley Cup. Only one person can be the all-time leading goal scorer in NHL history.
That's fair. That is true.
It's an interesting deal. Both of them, by the way, as you know, stayed with the same team the whole career. It's amazing.
That is true. Yeah. It does make me think about when I went for the practicum record in broadcasting.
I remember when you did that, and you broke it.
I did break that record. It's since been broken. Somebody else broke it. I think it's been broken a couple of times.
Which is like, man, I hope you have a life.
Yeah, it's a different time now. They got more opportunities to help out and earn those hours. It's not the same.
That's fair.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
We will find you.
Yeah.
No, right. Illustrious award winners from the Montclair State. The defunct Montclair State University broadcasting department, only defunct because it has evolved into something much larger now.
It's now just, I think, all part of the School of Communications now.
Yes, it's a massive department now, but pioneered by people like Ray Carsillo.
And you.
And
MJ Elias.
And me and many of our classmates.
Yeah, and many of our
phenomenal people.
Yes.
I would say many of your names are coming to my mind. Too many to name. All right. Some of the top talent I think I've ever worked with was at that school.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. But speaking of top talent, we're gonna stick with hockey real quick. Just do a quick update on the standings.
Yeah, it's tight, Ray. It's tight.
I mean, it's not really.
It's tight, Ray. It's tight.
I mean,
that wild card is tight.
I mean, it's all but done at this point.
Come on, Rangers.
Though the Rangers are done.
Figure it out, Rangers.
The Rangers with 5 games to go. I mean, like the Rangers would basically have to win their last 5, and Montreal would have to lose like 4 of their last 5. Montreal has gone on a 5-game winning streak. The Rangers have been spanked the last 2 games by the Devils and Lightning.
Brutal.
Which just has basically, there's just no chance. Detroit has won a couple of games.
If you can win out and everyone else loses, you got a shot.
Yeah, it's not happening.
No, you're right. You know what? I didn't realize it was a 6-point spread. I've been so focused on Ovechkin, I missed that. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's locked in now.
Yeah, no, the Rangers have. Yeah, it's the top 8 teams. So you're going to have Montreal versus Washington, because it's all but. I mean, Washington is all but clinched the top seed in the East. Although they can still have a chance for the President's Trophy. Them in Winnipeg.
I don't. If I'm them, I don't want that.
There's not a lot of good connotations around the winning the President's Trophy.
No, let Winnipeg have that. They're pretty close. Yeah. And I'll say here, it's an interesting thing, but for the Rangers, Ray, it really does go to show you how tough start. You're going to be chasing.
It's very. The Rangers had that one stretch very early where they lost 10 of 12.
Yep.
And that sunk them. They never recovered from that.
If you win half,
if they go 5-5,
if you win 3 of those, you're in contention right now.
Yeah,
it's you can't have slips like that in the Eastern Conference. And again, I'm glad they got situated, but big letdown season. Now, I will say this: that the last time the Rangers did something like this, the next year they came back very, very strong. 100%. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see what happens. This is interesting. Panthers with a lot of injuries late in the season.
Yeah.
They're now 3-6-1. Ottawa might actually leapfrog them for that 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division. So, I mean, we were pretty much writing off that it was going to be the first round was going to be the Battle of Florida again, Tampa versus Florida. But the Senators are only 2 points back of the Panthers after the Panthers have lost 3 in a row and the Senators have won 3 in a row. And you might see the Senators move into that 3 seed in the Atlantic, and that would be fascinating because then you would have Florida versus Toronto instead in the first round.
Yeah, which would be funny, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Toronto just never seems to figure it out.
No, never. Although to be fair, they are also. I mean, Tampa Bay still in contention for the division. Tampa Bay is only 2 points back with 5 to go. So Tampa Bay could also flip-flop with them. And you might still get Tampa in Florida. You could have Toronto, and you could still have Toronto and Ottawa, but there's a completely different seeding. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, we're just basically fighting for seeding here in the NHL playoffs. All but locked in the 8 teams on both sides now. Although officially the math is not complete, it's not completely there, but you're going to have the Hurricanes versus the Devils. You're going to have the Caps versus the Canadiens. You're going to have the Senators versus the Leafs and Lightning versus.
These are great matchups, and again, I can't tell you who's coming out of the East. Every team. This is actually really interesting. Every team feels like a dark horse, but that's because there's no front runner. Like I don't look at the Caps and go, oh, they're shooing. Like nobody. I don't look at anybody, not even Florida. Like if I had to guess right now, the 2 teams that I think are surging the most that really have a chance right now is Tampa and Carolina, believe it or not. Those are the teams that I'd be looking at to go all the way this year. Carolina's been, flirting with that, and they've been real quietly good this year.
Yes. Well, I mean, and those are 2 teams that are just so good at home in particular.
Tampa has one of the best players in the NHL 2 of the best players in the NHL that no one talks about in Vasilevsky and Kucherov.
And I was going to say Kucherov, yep.
Yeah. I mean, and again, obviously Stamkos is not there, but quietly just dominant this year.
Yeah, Stamkos went to Nashville, who has
been eliminated.
62 points.
Eliminated.
Yeah, they're the 3rd worst team in the West.
In the West, listen, there is a reason. And Ray, I am sure you will agree with me on this. There is a reason that, at least in my opinion, the NHL playoffs is by far the greatest postseason in sports. With the MLB and NFL, in my opinion, being actually no, NFL would be next, and then MLB and NBA down at the bottom. The only reason why I'm giving the MLB a little, or NFL a little bit of an edge on the MLB is because they're single game elimination.
Yeah.
And MLB's playoff format is fine, but
I think it's better now that they've expanded, but
it's fine. It's better than it's expanded, but there's nothing like the 2-month NHL postseason. Just nothing like it.
100%.
It's the best postseason in sports. Probably better than March Madness, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into that in a second, but
I'm just trying to give you the.
I know, but I just briefly want to just go over the Western Conference.
Oh, fine, more hockey. What do you think this is? Look, you know what you're doing? You're pucking around. And
yeah,
Look at my shirt, Ray. Look at my shirt. You can get these too. HockeyWraparound.com. Their sponsor, kind of.
Goodness. It
hurt when I put my arm up. That's being 40.
Oh goodness, it's we're 40. Oh boy. The Western Conference. I just want to quickly mention. We talk about we don't know who's going to come out of the East. The West is just as stacked, right? I mean, we know the top 8 teams basically. I mean, look, Calgary technically still within striking distance of Minnesota. They're only 4 points back with 5 to play, but like that really that feels like trying to thread a needle at this point. The Blues, we talked about it, their hot streak. I mean, their winning streak finally snapped. But they're solidly now in the first wild card. The Kings have quietly amassed the best home record in hockey, right? They're going to be hosting the Oilers, it looks like. So that's going to be interesting to see if that plays into any effect. And then Winnipeg, I don't think they'll choke in the first round this year just because it looks like they're going to play Minnesota. But who knows if they'll get farther than that? Because, I mean, again, the Golden Knights, the Kings, the Stars, the Avalanche, and even the Blues. Like, again, don't sleep on Binnington in net. Like, that is just a stacked conference as well. And, boy, it is going to be a lot of fun to watch that as well, I think. Yeah, look, we're kind of set up here that, like, when you get to the final, man, you're going to be beat to hell. Yeah.
It's just – like, there's not a series here I really don't want to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, again, what outside football, what other sport can you say that about?
Yeah, you really can't.
You can't. Like, I don't want to watch every MLB matchup. I mean, if you're a diehard baseball fan, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, but like every one of these NHL series, I'm super biased, but they're going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
NFL, easily the most watchability is the NFL, but that's because there's less games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's appointment viewing because it's literally just it's the weekends and that's it.
Right.
So but yeah, no, it's a great tournament. And speaking of a less great tournament, let's go over to the NCAA now. As
yeah, I mean it wasn't the best March Madness.
No.
But the Final Fours were entertaining.
Yeah, the Final Fours were the cream of the crop, rises to the top. Right, these were your most competitive matchups, probably the entire tournament.
Can you say that correctly?
Oh yeah, the cream of the crop rises to the top.
Thank you. I think we have to do that when we use any Macho Man reference. It's
100%.
Disrespectful not to.
I know you are absolutely correct. I apologize to the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Mr. Poffo.
I don't have any Slim Jims nearby.
But yeah, but no, I think No, I mean, look, Florida, congratulations to the Florida men and the UConn women. We'll start with the women. Gino Auriemma, his first title in 9 years, his 12th overall. UConn back on top. They were the 2 seed. They were a bit of an underdog, but they beat South Carolina in a great matchup. And then the Florida men, Houston came back to beat
Florida men. Sorry, Florida men.
You're not Florida Gators anymore. You're just Florida men. Yeah. But no, yeah, I mean, you had I had Duke. I had picked Duke just because they're a basketball school, not a football school.
You could have picked anyone and been right. Yeah. Like I think last week, Ray, I threw out there like, Florida. Yeah. They ended up winning. You could have picked any one of them and they would have been right. They were good games.
Yes.
You said it before the show. Florida just edged out Houston in the last minute. I mean, it was.
It looked like game. Houston ran out of gas, and you wonder if that was part of them coming back against Duke and just I thought
you never know. Now,
totally
different story in the women's championship game. South Carolina just did not show up. UConn completely had their number. I've never seen Dawn Staley so outraged on the sideline before with her team. But UConn showed up. Paige showed up. I mean, that was a true championship performance by UConn. I'm a big fan of Gino Auriemma. Funny enough, I took his master class. But I can tell you as a coach, this guy really, and this is so true of Dawn Staley too. I actually don't want to take her out of the conversation. These coaches really understand how to win. Keep in mind, Dawn Staley just won this last year, so it's not like she's too far removed. All right, this is a repeat trip there. But the way they approach coaching and the way they approach winning, I have the deepest respect for. I mean, I really study those two coaches. And now that I'm a women's coach too, it makes even more sense. Not that it mattered, but it's just amazing to me what he's been able to accomplish in his career. 12 titles. That's enough for all-time greatest coach in women's basketball. With UConn, nonetheless, he's been with one school. I mean, it's insane. And I think I heard him saying the other day, his first game at UConn, they had 100 fans, and look at them now. I mean, it's a national program.
They're a powerhouse,
powerhouse, right? And again, it's amazing to see. And Paige will be going to the WNBA draft. Thus, creating more great players in the WNBA. So great endings to these tournaments. I understand why people love March Madness so much. But this was an okay year. Nothing to write home about in the round of 64. But when it gets down to the Final Four, it was good.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's fair. It was a good final weekend, even if the tournament itself was a bit lackluster compared to
it was a great weekend of sports, period.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, especially for my baseball team, but just, in general, I was jumping from Ovechkin to March Madness to the NHL other game. This was a good week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Baseball was good too.
Baseball was back. We're going to get to baseball in a second. Really quickly with the NBA, though, we go from college sport ball to pro. The NBA, we talked about this. It's all basically kind of locked up.
Yeah, I checked out a minute ago on that one.
The last few games for the NBA, the last few games mean almost nothing. There's a couple of teams that can move up and down in the standings, like a couple of seeding changes, but that's really at the East. The 10 teams are locked in. The West, the Suns still have a slim chance, but they're one loss away from being officially eliminated. And then you'll have your 10 teams locked in the West. So the Mavericks, even with all their injuries and the terrible trade, will still make it into the play-in round. Again, though, it's the Thunder, and it's almost the first week of the season. The Thunder in Cleveland, obviously running away with both their respective conferences. Not to say that they're going to run away with the playoffs or anything like that. Obviously, upsets can happen. Obviously, Boston is still very, very strong. I'm obviously rooting for my Knicks as an underdog. The Rockets, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors. You can't count any of these teams out. But really, it's the regular season for the NBA. Feels like it's just been inevitable. Right? Like between Cleveland and Oklahoma City for the East and the West, just because they got off to such fantastic starts. And like in the NBA, if you get off to a fantastic start, you have to really have one heck of a collapse to not basically win your conference. So
yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm not saying this in a negative way, how long the NBA can kind of ride what they've got going, because I'm hearing basketball fans continually be frustrated with that sport, but they're not watching. So that's a big deal. I'm not trying to poo-poo on basketball, but it just seems like, man, they're losing their footing. And, LeBron's not going to be around much longer. I'm not saying there's not other great talent, but if you don't start bringing some parity into that sport, man, I don't know. Maybe, but maybe that's part of the culture of it. I mean, it's not, like I said, the Bulls won 6 championships in a few years. It's not crazy what's happening, but
but it still feels like it just feels different, right?
Like
that's
not
still
the same league. Yeah.
It still felt exciting. Like I was excited to watch Jordan.
Me too.
I'm not excited to watch Steph and LeBron and I just don't know what it is. And again, I mean, some folks we've talked about this. Sometimes it's leadership. Sometimes it's guys wanting to take the sport by the reins and be like, "I'm the guy. This is my team, and this is our league." And blah, blah, like, and it just feels like I don't know. Like
look. I'll say this too. There's been, follow me here on this one. This would be a point. There's been criticism in pro sports today from some older athletes that the players are too friendly. And here's the deal. I don't agree with that criticism. I think there's nothing wrong with respect off the court, the field, the ice.
Absolutely.
All right. But I also just watched guys who have tremendous respect for each other beat the shit out of each other on a Four Nations face-off this year, and everyone loved it. So I think that kind of proves that you can compete, legit fight someone you respect, and people are okay with it. Yeah. I think that in the NBA, I'm not saying these guys are not competitors, right? I'm not saying that they're not competing, but I'm saying that the edge does, like you said, does not seem to be there, right? Well, I'm not saying you can't help a guy up the court or anything like that. It's just, it's just something's missing there to me, and I can't.
There's a lack of physicality now, I feel, right? Like you don't have Charles Oakley keeping you out of the paint anymore, right? You don't have. There's like, again, and this is partially, and maybe it is the evolution of the game, right? I mean, they showed it over 20 years. Now everything is either a dunk or a 3-point shot, and that's it, right? Because it's maximizing you either want the highest percentage shot or the shot that's going to get you the most points, right? Like, and that makes sense, but that's not particularly fun to watch. And I think that's a problem. I think that's and again, and adding teams to the postseason bracket hasn't helped matters, right? A 10-team postseason for each conference, a 20-team postseason overall, it feels watered down. Yeah. It's, in my opinion, it feels watered down. And again, maybe it's just old man shaking his fist at the cloud, thinking about how great the 90s in the NBA was. But that's how I feel. I feel that growing up, basketball was better than it is now.
I think that the expansion of the playoffs in a league like this is one of the dumbest things they've ever done. Because, like, you know what would actually work in the NBA? The old MLB playoffs, where, it's much shorter postseason. Because it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And like, let's just use the Knicks. It's like what you're praying for is to get to the bowl. You just want to get to the bowl and get some food, and hopefully maybe you can beat the other dog there. But it's like, it's just not a true, like, again, we just talked about the NHL. Any of those teams can win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Any of them. Yeah. And of the 20 teams making the NBA playoffs, 4 of them can make the finals. With an S.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, what happens. We'll obviously keep an eye on it and continue to talk about it, because that's what we do here at Geeks Who Like Sports.
That's what we do. We complain. Yes. We are geriatrics now, complaining about sports.
Almost.
Actually, Ray, I don't know if you realize this, but being 40 years old, you're now a 40-year-old geek. You're kind of in that generation. This is a new frontier. Like, no offense to the arcade players that came before us, but we're a new frontier of geekdom, right? Like, we grew up on cartoons.
Yeah, we did. We do grow up on cartoons. I love cartoons.
Who doesn't love cartoons? The dumbest thing America ever did was make
Warner Brothers hates cartoons.
They hate cartoons, but luckily they're falling apart.
Yes, little by little. Speaking of falling apart, the Athletics are up in Sacramento now for the next 3 years, and they had a wonderful opening weekend. And now it is basically they are going to be playing road games for the next 3 years because the vast majority of the fans who are, of course, attending these games now are visiting fans. I think the Padres outnumbered the Athletics fans 5-1 over this weekend. Or the last couple of days, and it just and look, and I get it. It's a AAA ballpark. They tweaked some things. They can now fit 12,000 people into that stadium.
Wow.
But I know. But even the graphics department. I don't know if you saw I saw the game with the Cubs where. By the way, congratulations to Carson Kelly, the first Cubby cycle since 1993, and Mark Grace.
The 1900s, amazing.
Yeah. Over 30 years ago was the last time the Cubs hit a cycle. Carson Kelly, but the graphics looked like AAA television graphics. Like even NBC's like, we're not gonna put any money or anything in this. NBC, like the NBC Bay Area that covers the games, it's just like, whatever. And it's kind of it's a sin. Again, the Athletics is one of the great franchises in baseball, was.
It really, it's like. I mean, I'm trying to put it on. I mean, like, look, you're going to disagree with me maybe here. They're not the Yankees and the Red Sox, but they're on par with the historical side of that. They have won many championships.
They have 9 World Series wins.
Yeah, like they're part of that. Can I say this? They're part of that class. Okay, they are not the top of the class.
Sure.
But they're part of the class of those old baseball teams that really had history. And they haven't done much since the 70s, to be fair.
Yeah.
All right. Outside making a really popular movie with Brad Pitt, which they didn't even make. They just
Yes, and also I like to remind people they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Yankees.
Yeah, right. And then it never worked again.
Exactly. Everybody else started to do it, and then that was it.
Right.
They did it better. Literally, to the point where that's how Boston broke their curse.
Well, they had money. They had more money. That's how they did it better. Like the Moneyball system worked. They put more money into it, and guess what? It worked even better.
Right, exactly.
Because there's rich teams and there's poor teams. Then there's 50 files of crap. And then there's the Athletics who don't have a home.
They don't have a home.
It's gotten worse for the Athletics since that movie has been made.
Unbelievable.
Where's Billy Bean? Where's Billy Bean?
Yeah. I am curious. I'm going to be in Vegas in a couple of weeks. I'm curious to see. I don't think they've demolished the Trop yet.
It's a week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a week and a half. A week and a half will be.
Yeah. I don't know if they have not. The last time I was there, they had not demolished it yet.
I don't think they have not demolished the Trop yet. But that is where supposedly they're going to build this $1.5 billion stadium that's going to have a retractable sunroof and all this. I mean, look, they can build a stadium in Arizona. Like,
I was talking to some fans in Vegas. I had some time with the Vegas Golden Knights when I was just there not too long ago. They were great hosts for our tournament, and I asked them about, how are the Raiders doing? How what they said to me, Ray, was that look, we're happy the Raiders are here. This is how they talk, right?
Yeah.
And we're happy the A's may come here, but the Golden Knights were here. They started here. That's our team. Yeah. So not that people aren't going to see the Raiders or the future, I guess, baseball team there, but there's an attitude of like, well, you moved here. You're not from here. I was like, wow, that's an interesting take, which means hockey's going to have a grip on that fan base for way longer. Also, when you win the Stanley Cup, it helps a lot.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, that team's been a winner since day one. And also, I mean, again, you forget that their first season started with tragedy. And I think that
tragedy. Yeah.
That community rallied around that team, that sports team, and that showed, again, the good that sports can do for a community.
Yes.
But I completely agree. I mean, I feel like people forget, like, yes, Vegas is obviously a tourist trap, and there's a lot of transplants and whatnot, but there is a strong core to that community. And I feel like, they hate that the F1 is there now. They don't, look, again, they appreciate the money coming into the city. They understand the logistics and all that other stuff. But like, to your point, like whenever I go to Vegas, they're like, we're hockey fans.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you be? It's a super unique thing out there. And man, that fan base is massive. So anyway, look, I sincerely hope the A's find a home. Will most likely be Las Vegas. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, they are going. I mean, it is going to be Vegas, but they are going to call themselves the Las Vegas Athletics. But yeah, again, it's going to take a generation because of, like you said, it's because of people. They're like, you're not homegrown. You're not our team.
You're going to have to be there for a while and win before they're going to embrace it.
Right. Again, it's going to take a generation. Even with you even see that when teams come back. Right. I mean, you're seeing that right now with the Rams in LA. A lot of people are like, well, I'm a Raider fan because they were closer. Like, because you lost a whole generation of fans when the Rams went to St. Louis. Right. Like, it's going to take time for
people. Take generations.
Yeah. It's going to take
look, how many years they removed from the Super Bowl? 4?
The Rams?
Yeah. 3,
3 or 4. Yeah.
Right. Those young kid fans are still kids.
Right, they're Ram fans.
It's going to take time.
Yeah, but there's a lot of folks around our age that are just kind of like, out here in particular, like, I'm not a Rams fan.
No,
like, I mean, if anything, I rooted for the Chargers in San Diego when they were in San Diego.
Yeah,
or I rooted for the Raiders, or like. Yeah, there's or like the rest, like most of us here in LA, we're transplants and we don't root for anybody in LA.
Right.
So,
well, I'll say that just closing this segment, the biggest advantage Vegas has is not so much the Vegas fan, but people traveling to Vegas to watch their team against Vegas. But when it comes to the Golden Knights, they are fans and they love that.
Well,
team.
That's the thing. You can't get Golden Knight tickets as a traveler.
No, they're very expensive. I mean, like I was there when they were playing Detroit, which is to them. I mean, not that it's not a rival, but like. You think, oh, Vegas, Detroit, sold out, just completely sold out.
Yeah, 100%. And we were talking about the NFL for a second. Just real quick, a little bit of NFL news this week. They are finally going to implement the electronic chips in the footballs next year.
Can't do it in baseball, though, Ray. Can't do it in baseball.
I think they are going to. I think baseball, next year will finally implement, because it is. I also say this, kind of blending baseball and football. They have said that this is the least accurate the umpires have been in baseball through the first 10 games or whatever it is ever.
Yeah,
since they started measuring.
There's no need for it anymore. I'm going to say this for a 50th time. If you think that that's part of the game, I don't know what to tell you.
The game is passed you by.
Well, yeah.
The world is passed you by.
Before this technology existed, I would agree with you.
Different story.
Totally agree with you. But we have the technology. We can rebuild it.
Yeah.
So funny enough, though, the NFL going with electronic first downs, but they're still going to have the markers out there.
Because they don't want to fire all those people.
They don't want to fire those people, and I think it's also for the fans to make sure that they understand, where it may or may not be. That's
well, and that's for the fans in attendance. Yeah. It gives you that visual marker.
And that's important. But I've seen the technology, Ray, and kind of the 360, and it's down to like a millimeter of accuracy, which is insane. So I can't wait till the first non-first down happens. It's not fourth in inches; it's fourth in millimeters.
Yes.
And then hopefully they don't ban the tush push. I can't believe that conversation's still happening. And if they do that, and I'm super biased, I don't agree with this as a sports fan, though. You find something that works.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it has been tabled for now, but it's for the NFL to get for any rule change to pass, 3/4 of the owners, 24 of the 32 owners have to agree on it. And it sounds like only about 15 or 16 want to ban the tush push.
The whole NFC.
So. There you go. So
except for one team doesn't disagree with that. Yes. I don't. Someone said, "Oh, it's a rugby play, not a football play." I'm like, screw off, man. I don't know what to say about that. Like, again, I don't like it. I don't like it as an Eagles fan. I don't like it as a football fan. Yeah. If another team can learn to do it, power to you. I really mean that.
Yeah, I don't think. Good. And technically, the Bills have Josh Allen is just as good as the tush push. Yeah, not in the playoffs, but overall as Jalen Hurts.
Well, we didn't win the Super Bowl on that play either. That's the other thing. I wish there was
you dismantled Kansas City.
I wish there was a smoking gun, but there's
Cooper
not.
DeJean didn't need a tush push.
You're on the train a little bit here. Listen, we didn't win.
I was a huge fan of Cooper DeJean before you picked him.
I know you were. And guess where he went? Listen, my point to you was this.
I wanted like all of your defensive draft picks. I can't. The last couple of years.
We have a better GM. I don't know what to tell you. We didn't win the Super Bowl on the brotherly shove. I will say there are games that we clearly had an advantage because of that.
Sure.
But at the same time, like that's also saying that like when you're 1 yard out, that we weren't going to convert anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate this. I think it's stupid. Ray, I got more Super Bowl gear if you want to see it.
I'm good.
There's a lot of it. It's so fun.
I'm going to have to see some of it next week. So.
Hey, so my daughter is on a softball team.
And what position does he play?
My daughter or my son? Oh, my daughter. She's in like kind of rookie ball, so they move her all around. She likes being on the infield though.
Of course. Yeah.
Logan's been playing too. So before I get to Logan, her team's called the Eagles. And their chant is EAGLES Eagles. It's really great. It's the perfect season for it. And their coach is one producer, Caitlin, which is also
really
Logan finally took a break from hockey because that season never ends. Got 2 shutouts in his first 3 games, and the other one they won 4-1. So nice. Pretty good start for his new team. But now
that's a pretty good GAA for Logan.
Yeah, I'll take it. In baseball, he it's funny. They're starting to realize that there's only his second year playing baseball, so he's a little behind when it comes to just understanding the game. But they've realized that this kid can stop the ball, so they put him in the infield.
Oh, like a third base or something, or
sometimes second or third, but nothing gets by him because he's a goalie. So he does a really great job of it gets to him. He'll stop it and he'll get it to first, and it's like they're realizing, this might be where you need to be. Although he really wants to try catcher. And I'm really not wanting to have knee surgeries. So I'm telling him just learn it, but don't kill yourself.
Yeah. Well, but nowadays you can do so many different stands, and especially at that age, they'll have you on sitting on one knee or whatever.
They were showing that yesterday in the MLB. How many catchers today do one knee now and not squatting?
Yes, they save their knees. Absolutely.
Knees. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, it's baseball season, which means I'll be in the outfield on a chair with a beverage. and the occasional hot dog, not yelling about, 2-1-2, dump the puck, play defense, clear the front of the net, just relaxing.
Yes. Much
Imagine
more
that.
relaxed.
Imagine that. How about that? How about that?
Oh, goodness. Goodness. Well, we've been talking about science and all the other fun stuff.
Science.
With
yes,
with measurements in football and strike zones and baseball. And this was fascinating. This is just general societal science.
Science. Real science.
Just real science.
Yeah.
Real science, weird science, whatever you want to call all kinds of science.
It's a little weird.
It is a little. Geneticists have unextincted. I guess that's the way we can say.
That's how they're saying it. Yeah.
A species called the dire wolf that was around 10,000 years ago. It's not just a thing in a lot of fantasy novels. The dire wolf is not just a thing
it's big in Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Yes, and it's also in Dragon Age and all those other things. It's basically in a lot of fantasy shows. No, there was an actual species called the dire wolf 10,000 years ago, and they have used genomes that have been fossilized and found, and they basically Jurassic Park their way to bring back these wolves to life, which is fascinating and amazing. It's great for possible ecology and whatnot. It's also a little bit frightening, I think.
Well, yes and no. Like, here's the deal, because the first place people go is Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Something that's been extinct for 10,000 years is not the same as something that's been extinct for 100 million years. Yeah. So like we had the technology. Like, the way they did this, right, at least from my understanding, is they used a lot of existing genomes that they could find in other animals
to help piece it together,
that were descendants of a dire wolf, that they were able to genetically piece this together. So that helps. And what I want, Ray, and I don't know why this can't happen. Can we please just bring the dodo bird back?
I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think there's a lot of there was a penguin species that went extinct. We'll
bring them all back. Don't get me wrong. Bring anything back you can. But please, the dodo bird. I just think that society, the way it is today, the dodo bird could solve all of our problems, Ray.
Yeah.
All right, the dodo bird. Anyway, look,
because we can put it. Look, we'll put a tariff on it, like everything. The penguins.
I want a dodo bird. Okay, look. Again, not as scary. Again, 100 million years, 10,000 years. A little bit difference in evolution there.
Absolutely.
Also, not a cataclysmic event causing the end of the planet as we know it virtually for that time. So, I think what this means is that, we can start to look at things that are going extinct that we could potentially bring back, and koalas rejoice because it's your time to stay alive, and other things as well. So
a lot of things that are a lot of the rhino species and things of all that nature. And I'm just looking at them. I can't wait to
tamper with it that it becomes scary. And but that's the nature of science.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. I was just about to say, I look forward to when they start tampering with my genome and putting me back together. Because at 40 years old, we need to start being put back together, Lee. So.
I hope they can do that for us, because, I've always wanted to peek in the future, just kind of come into my time machine, be like, oh, nope, and go back inside and be like, yeah, that's not for me. We did it. We brought back the dodo bird. Heaven, I'm in heaven. The dodo bird is everywhere I can see. No, this is good news for animals, but look, potentially good news for the human race as well. All right. Yes. What I worry about, Ray, is that I do think this leads the way for what they used to do. What was it, in Total Recall, Repet, when they used to do so? Was that no? It was another Schwarzenegger film. Maybe I don't remember what it was, but they used to bring back pets. Like, you could actually bring back and have your pet again. That's where you start to tamper with things like that. If you're creating new life, that's one thing. If you're recreating past life, you're going to have a massive debate on your hands. Because when they're gone, they're gone. That's kind of the way it's supposed to work. I don't think we should mess with that.
Cheating death.
Well, we've done that for years, you and I.
Yes. Yeah, I'm amazed I made it to 40.
I am so happy you're here, because now you gotta keep going. It's great.
Just gotta keep on trucking.
Keep on scratching. That's a PA ad. Keep going.
Yeah.
So just so you know, Ray, in Pennsylvania, Puxatawny Phil, the groundhog, is famous. So the Pennsylvania Lottery, you've probably never seen this commercial. I just realized this is this animated. It's an animated groundhog. It's pretty good. He goes, keep on scratching. It's just, and my kids run around saying that. And I'm like, okay.
Oh goodness, yeah. There's always those commercials about the lottery that always stick in our heads and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure Jersey
what a
had
great
few.
gift.
Yeah, and we got the California scratchers out here. So
yeah.
Anyway,
oh, you meant the lottery when you said that? Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. We're talking about birds and
Speaking of evolution.
Yeah, speaking of evolution, the Switch 2 had their big.
I can't get over that name.
They're I know it should be the Super Nintendo Switch.
It should be. And they did this with a game, so I don't understand it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Again, this is the problem with Nintendo. 2 weeks ago, we talked about how great Nintendo's Nintendo Direct was. Last week's Nintendo Direct was a disaster. If you didn't see my initial reaction, folks, go check it out on our Instagram and our TikTok and all over. Nintendo's marketing team, like there's so much. Where did it begin? First off, no Miyamoto. This is the beginning of a passing of a torch that we knew was coming with Nintendo, right? But I have a feeling that after watching that direct, that Nintendo was crying somewhere because he realized he can't retire and leave it to these three dodos who were in charge of the Switch 2 and this presentation. This was a disaster, I think, from just to get a messaging standpoint, right? Like, all they had to do was come out and be like, in the first 6 months of the Switch 2's life, you're going to get a new Mario Kart, a new Donkey Kong, which looks amazing, Metroid Prime 4, new Pokemon, and Kirby Air Riders. Thwack. 5 first-party, phenomenal titles, going to be on the new Switch 2. A couple of them will also be on the Switch. And this was the problem with what they did 2 weeks ago, is that for whatever reason, they undercut themselves. They showed the Metroid Prime footage and trailer and the Pokemon footage and trailer, and then you couldn't re-show it for the Switch 2 announcement. And they were like, instead of being like, these games are coming to Switch 2, oh, and they also will be on the Switch. They were like, these games are coming this year, and they're also going to be on Switch 2. But also your new hardware.
Right.
You don't. That's just terrible marketing. I mean, on top of that, there's the price point. Now, here's the thing. I've been trying to tell people to calm down. Although now it's going to be a little harder with the tariffs, which if you don't know, this is a thing. Because of the tariffs, Nintendo pulled down their pre-order page here in the States. And now Canada as well, actually, by the way. That just happened this morning. Nintendo is looking, because basically whatever price it is in the U.S., it also has to be the same in Canada. It's basically just North America, right? Nintendo has basically said they have to reevaluate the price point for this console to answer the tariffs.
Right.
But I'll say this, when it was priced at $450 with a $500 bundle with Mario Kart, which is totally worth it. That's about,
agreed. Yeah.
That's about where gaming consoles are. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I think it was actually a fascinating perspective, because they were like, I think the reason why people feel hurt from the price by Nintendo is that for so many generations, Nintendo was like, graphics are fun, but gameplay and characters, that's really what makes a game. This generation, Nintendo is being like, no, technology does matter. Graphics do matter. We were wrong. And now we're going to give you the same kind of power you get on an Xbox or a PlayStation. It's going to be handheld, which is damn impressive. And anytime you shrink something down into a handheld, that is also going to drive the price up, right? You can do a lot with technology, but when you shrink it down, that's where the costs really get incurred. And we're going to give you those graphics, and it's going to cost you as much as a PlayStation and an Xbox. And I think that's why people feel bad, is that I think that they've been sold something for the last 20 years from Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, Ray, I got to say it.
Yeah.
If you think this is bad, wait till the next Xbox comes out. Because you're in for a wait. This is going to be cheap. Or let me rephrase that. This is going to be more affordable compared to the next console system. Also, keeping in mind that hardware days are limited. Look,
yes,
I would advise people, and a lot of people, again, you got to check your ego on this one. I would advise people to be patient.
Yes.
And remember that when is the release date for this?
June 5th.
A lot can happen in the next few months. A lot can happen next few years. Like
Yep.
you got to be patient with a lot of the things that are going on. And it's so easy. And I'm not even saying wrong to point a finger and say like you ruined everything. But the truth is the way politics works is it takes time. All right. And that's not fair to any of the citizens across the world. I'm just stating a reality. All right. I'm not saying that I agree with these, disagree with them, or anything like that. I'm saying be patient. All right. The price of this thing will go down eventually. But right now, yeah, I don't think it's an unfair price, Ray, for this gaming console. Not to mention, too, the way games are changing. I mean, my attitude is this is, did you like Switch? Yeah. Did you get the value out of Switch? Yeah. Did you play the Switch? Yeah. Do you like the games for Switch? Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a value that's tied to that.
Yeah.
And Switch came out how many years ago?
8 now?
Yeah, things have changed.
Yeah.
All right. It's not just tariffs. Prices have gone up.
Yes.
This is normal. So
well, and that's the other thing too, is that we do have to mention that, like, if you look historically, right? First off, what $450 gets you today is what $250 got you 20 years ago.
Is that fair? No. I'm not saying that that's fair.
Yeah.
But that's reality.
Yes. And obviously that's inflation across all sorts of administrations, right? From 20 years ago when the Wii came out. But yeah, I mean, I think the other thing is I think also people got a little surprised because, and this is also true, and this is again being 40, we remember these times. Nintendo, people don't remember this, but during the Super Nintendo, there was games were $70, $80, $90.
Expensive, yeah.
They were also variable prices. Killer Instinct was $80, while Donkey Kong Country was $70. And there are a variety of reasons for all this. Who's making it, who's publishing it, how much does it cost, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but that's what they cost back then. It was a major purchase back then.
Right, and that's the thing. And then when the console wars, the new console, when Sega died or became just a developer, and Sony and Microsoft came into the game, that's when you had this kind of consolidation of $50, $60, then $70 across the industry. For better or for worse, for a variety of reasons, Nintendo is going back to the old way of doing things where, yes, because they said it, Mario Kart would be $80 by itself, Donkey Kong's going to be $70. You're going to start to see variable prices, and I get it. People are clenching their buttholes, holding onto their butts because they're thinking GTA 6 is going to be $100.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to put 1,000 hours into GTA 6,
yeah, well,
it might be worth $100 for you.
It's a game you're going to play for 5 years. Right. It's worth quite a bit of money. The other thing too is that, I would make the guess, Ray, that the games they made in the mid 90s did not have the same staff as games that are made today. Like the cost of making a game has gone way up.
Much higher.
Yeah. Yes. The fact that they had kept those prices for as long as they did, like I'm speaking as a business owner now. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something we should be thankful for. Like I recently had to raise my prices on some of my items. Yeah. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just the global economy has put us in a position where we have employees, we have materials that we have to buy, we have things we have to sell. Like we had to raise the price a little bit. All right. And we held off that. This is what people don't see, right? We held that off as long as humanly possible. We really did. Right. But it got to a point, if we need to survive, we need to. But you know what's funny, Ray? When we did it, and we kind of looked around, we realized, wow, we didn't do this anywhere near as much as other people did. Like when you pay $12 for shipping on something that is really small, like what do you think that's going towards? So I'm just saying that there's people behind this too, and that you can say things are struggling. I know the gaming industry has not done anybody in the gaming industry favors lately, but the raise in price is sorely needed for those employees, right? And I wish that someone would come out and say that. If it's like you're probably not stuffing Nintendo's pockets as much as you're probably paying some of these workers. Yeah. All right. And they should probably come out and say something like that. It's like you're supporting Nintendo. All right. Yeah. You're not just,
Well, and I think that's the thing is that there's just, again, I'm
not Warner Brothers.
And I'm not defending or apologizing for what Nintendo's doing or anything.
You can't.
But there's obvious, there's reasons why this is all happening, and you kind of just have to understand that change is inevitable, and for this company to survive and hopefully, to your point, like, I mean, look, because Nintendo more than anybody has been a champion of the game developer and has done its best. But I think that this is not, like I said to your point, it's just this is the world we're in right now.
Well, I'm going to say this too, Ray. I guess I'm going on a limb here a little bit. The question is this for me as a consumer, and follow me, there's levels to this, because I'm not saying $80 is cheap for a family of 5 or 6. Okay. I'm not making that assumption. Yeah. Number one, and I'll ask this to you, Ray, just as someone who plays the games. Do you think that for the value you get from a game made by Nintendo, it's worth $70 to $80? Number one.
Most of the time, yes.
Sure. Okay. So let's just start with that the value proposition to the price is fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the other thing that hasn't happened. And this is the difference, I think, and I may sound like an old man here, but I'm going to do it, okay? When I wanted a game as a kid, I had to earn that game. There was no scenario where I went to my mom or dad and said, I want GoldenEye, and they just went out and bought it. Yep. I had to somehow either earn the money or earn it through time and chores and good grades, and there was a lot of stuff I had to do to get a game.
Yeah.
All right? Most of the time we borrowed or rented because it was expensive.
If it wasn't a birthday or Christmas, you had to earn it otherwise.
Right, I'm not seeing that nowadays.
Yeah,
I'm seeing, I want this game. Okay, well, it's really expensive, but earn it. Like, I'm speaking as a parent now. What an opportunity to teach your kids some responsibility. With Logan, we did this for years, Ray, and I'm going to say this now. My kid is somewhat of a voracious reader now. Both my kids read quite a bit, unprompted, which was not me growing up. Okay, 1 year we did. Okay, you want Tears of the Kingdom. This truth. You need to read 10 books of this length, and we put them up on the shelf like a trophy every time he did one, and he did it. He earned it, and I had no problem. Kid pulls straight A's. It's Janet's brain, not mine. But like, kid pulls really good grades. Yeah, okay, you've earned it. I'm not just gonna get it for you because you want it.
Yeah,
that is something else that has to change.
Yeah.
All right. Now the difference is also, I'm talking about kids. There's also a lot of 40-year-old gamers that are, hurting right now.
Yes.
And going, that's a lot of money. Well, what's the value proposition? Is escaping $80? Keeping in mind, Ray, I gotta say it. If you're buying a $6 cup of coffee and you're bitching about game prices, you got to think about that.
Well, and I was, as I finish off my Dunkin' here, I was also going to say
that $6.
That's not the truth. Not $6.
Wait, how much was that? $2.50? Like, come on.
Although, to be fair, this is cold brew, so it's a little more expensive. But
look at you, 40. You know what? You get whatever the hell you want today. It's your 40th birthday. All right, you get whatever you want today.
That's
just not cocaine or any of that kind of stuff.
No, I cannot.
You can have the bigger cold brew today.
Yes. But I was going to ask you, Lee, because you have kids.
I have. I do.
How if you, Jan, and the kids went to the movies?
Yes.
How much would it cost you?
That's a great point. So let's go on the cheapest end we can. Let's say we're going to do a matinee.
Yeah.
Okay. So for Janet and I, that's $9 each.
Okay.
Kids, we'll say $7. I mean, I've seen some go to $5, but we'll say $7. The food alone.
That's Philly prices. Wow.
Yeah, it's low. It's
again. This is matinee. That's very different numbers here in LA. But
I'm giving you the lowest possible. Possible. So
that's right there.
18 plus 14.
So $32
right
there.
And then it's easily minimum $15 if we want a popcorn and a soda.
Right.
All right. So how much is that? What are we at now?
So you do that? Do you get 4 popcorn and 4 soda?
No. Well, again, we're pretty consolidative here, but no. Look, why don't we just do $30 for food then? Because we'll say we'll get 2 popcorns and 2 drinks.
So you're looking at $62.
So there's 62 right there. You get the gas to get there.
Yeah, 65.
All right, I got to dodge whatever item like Deadpool popcorn bucket they're trying to make me buy. All right, that's if I go to a matinee.
Yes, the cheapest possible price.
All right, if I'm going to a primetime movie. Easily close to $80 to $100.
Yeah, and that's for 2 hours.
That's for 2 hours of something that may suck.
Yeah.
And most likely, whatever they're seeing, I'm not super into wanting to see it.
That's true.
All right, no offense to Dog Man, but I'm not the demographic anymore. Right, so I'll give you another one too. It's like gas prices, where and again, I'm not trying to not be empathetic, but it's like we'll complain about gas prices going up 15 cents.
Yep.
Which is not nothing, but when you put 16 gallons in, you're spending more on the coffee.
Yeah.
So I think we have a little bit of a what's it called? We're diluted a little bit.
It's a lot of knee. You know what it is? It's a lot of knee-jerk reactions and nobody thinking anything through.
Right. I'm just thinking there's a little derangement in spending, I think, today, what people are willing to pay for versus what they're not willing to pay for. I'm going to say it again. I love Starbucks, but if I don't get a Starbucks for a month, I'm probably saving $100. Let's be honest. All right. Maybe $50, whatever. All right. I mean, there's your game right there, man. And I think that somehow we got to a point in society where we're, we're supposed to have these wonderful, these comforts. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for it. But if you can't afford those comforts, this is part of getting older too, Ray. You and I have worked our asses off to get to the places we've been to. When we were 20, we couldn't afford anything. Could barely afford rent.
Yeah.
And it was like that for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like out of college. So again, it is easy to say when you're on the other end of it.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
I'm saying if
I definitely feel for the struggle of a lot of people out there.
Yeah. I hope I'm not coming across like I don't.
But that's the thing. Well, the thing is here's the thing: the people who are really struggling out there, they're not even thinking about video games. Right
No, they're finding a way to get food on the table.
Yeah, right. They're not. They don't care how expensive a video game is because they're not going to buy one anyway.
Right. No, they're gonna borrow.
We're talking about we're splitting hairs on what is at the end of the day a luxury item.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what we need to keep in perspective, and that there are people really struggling.
Yeah.
That it's all about perspective for me, and being anchored in the fact that some family is trying to figure out where their dinner is coming from tonight.
Yep.
And we're upset that Donkey Kong is, whatever.
And again, by the way, DK Bonanza, $70 looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
That totally looks like a game that's worth $70 to me.
Sure.
Right. Sure. And that's the thing. And I think it's going to be a thing where also, look, at the end of the day, folks, you have the purchasing power. If you have the money, if you have $70, $80 to spend on the game, you choose what you want to or not buy. Yeah. At the end of the day, right? Yeah. Again, I also think a lot of the folks who are complaining, who are the loudest about this, fall into the 1% of gamers like myself,
sure,
who do spend the vast majority of their luxury money, we'll say, their spare time, their hobby money, or however you want to put it, on games. Right?
I'm gonna say this to those people: you're not owed anything. You're not owed a thing. I think the only thing that you're owed, is that the people making these games are just doing everything they can to make it a great game. If you're going to pay the money, that you are owed that, but you're not owed pricing. Okay. Yeah. You're not owed a deal. You're not owed that stuff. If you support Nintendo, this is how you support them. That's what commerce is. Yeah. Right. And if you don't wish to pay that, then don't support Nintendo.
That's it. You don't buy the game,
or anybody for that matter. Ray, before we get to your movie review, can I throw something in the rundown here?
Yes.
I want to talk about Marvel a little bit because they have really amped up marketing on Thunderbolts recently.
Yes.
I do want to say this: the previews and what they're doing look fantastic. I mean, this
I'm
looks
very
like
excited.
Yeah, they're not hiding that Bob is Sentry anymore too much. All right.
Yeah.
And it's Thunderbolts, basically the anti-Avengers, if you wanted to put a title on it.
The Suicide Squad for Marvel.
Right. It looks fantastic what they're doing. Now, the thing that I'm not worried. The thing that's freaking me out is you think about all the time they put into developing Thanos in, those phases. We're just making a hard left turn into Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Doomsday. It's just oh, wow. Okay. So what I'm guessing is they're banking now, whereas with Thanos in phases 1 through 3, they really had to develop the story. Yes. I think now they're banking on, you already know the stories. You're going to get the original X-Men from Fox. You're going to get some of the characters that you know. I think I got to say it now. If RDJ playing Dr. Doom is got to be a Stark variant as Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can tell that story with this kind of speed.
Yeah.
And it's a good story. Like I said, we've said it before in the show. It's not it's not a fake thing that they made up. It's in the comics. Right. And my guess is that the Spider-Man Tony Stark relationship is going to be what drives that storyline, which is a great, think about it. It's a really great way to do it. I don't think they're cheating. Yeah. And again, Robert Downey Jr. is one of the greatest actors really in our time of all time. Okay. So I think that's where they're going. I would not be surprised, Ray, if they just completely sidestep Kang until the next phase at this point. And lucky for Marvel, they kind of left him in a place that he can show up at any time and place he wants to now.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very easy to explain away that, Kang didn't show up till after Doom was out of the way because he couldn't fight Doom.
Couldn't risk it or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Or Galactus is another good one who's clearly going to show up here.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if they're going to expand that. And then the other thing we should do prior to your review is just give a shout out to Val Kilmer, who passed away this past week. Another 100%. Really underrated generational actor. I only say underrated is people know who he is, but he was phenomenal. Not just in go ahead, not the roles we remember, other roles too.
I was going to say, and that you look at the gamut of his filmography and everything from what was it, Real Genius to Batman Forever to Heat to Tombstone, and it just was. Yeah. I mean, look, there's some clunkers in there too, but that's any actor who worked as much as he had.
What I'm thinking of that I actually really loved was The Saint. I thought that was a great film. It was kind of like around the time GoldenEye was coming out, so I think it got lost.
It was the 97.
I not only did I love that film, I thought that would have been a great video game. I don't know why they didn't do that, but he is a great actor, and he fought cancer organically. Like he didn't use any medicine and things like they did it not organically. What's the word? Holistically. I mean, just great actor, and you can feel the love for him that's pouring in from Hollywood. That he's just a great guy. So that was cool.
Of course, Top Gun. There's just so many you could list, and just I mean, 65 and just gone too soon, and the Door, and then just
they said, if I'm not mistaken, again for anybody younger listening, that when he did his audition for the Doors, all right, they thought that was actually the singer. It wasn't Val. They actually thought the real singer had come in. Yeah. No. Yeah,
they said he was more Jim Morrison than Jim Morrison.
Even though he was dead.
Right.
So anyway, big geeks shout off and send off to Iceman.
Yep. So very sad. But
I didn't want to end the show on that. That's why I did it now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it because now we're going to talk about an indie film that I absolutely adored. I saw this weekend, just came out this weekend, called The Luckiest Man in America. Stars Paul Walter Hauser, who, of course, has been all over the place. And really, I feel like this is kind of like one of his roles because he's very much an everyman, kind of played similar to Richard Jewell, right, which is where he played the cop during the 1996 Olympics that he found the backpack bomb. Right. And then they tried to turn him into a villain. Kind of very, very similar kind of role here. It also stars Walton Goggins, who of course is now in everything and is also phenomenal.
Everywhere.
David Strathairn is in it as a bumbling CBS executive, which is great. He was phenomenal. And basically, for those who don't know, it basically is the dramatization of the 1984 Press Your Luck scandal, scandal. For those who don't know, Press Your Luck was a game show. It's been brought back by Elizabeth Banks, who's a terrible game show host. I'm sick of celebrities trying to be game show hosts. Most of them are not very good at it. Sorry.
Only Drew Carey.
Only Drew Carey's pulled it off successfully. And Wayne Brady. I'll give Wayne Brady credit.
I'll give Wayne Brady that too,
and let's make a deal. I think he is phenomenal. Yeah. Wayne Brady and Drew Carey. That's it.
Didn't even work on Jeopardy. They had to bring back a Jeopardy.
And Steve Harvey and Family Feud. I think that those.
I
think comedians.
Yeah, that's different. That's a little different. And
Michael
actually, Drew Carey would be that.
Michael Strahan on Pyramid, get out of here. Elizabeth Banks and Press Your Luck, get out of here. Right. So anyway, Press Your Luck, classic game show. No whammies, big bucks.
No whammies, and stop.
So basically, what happens is that this is around a man named Michael Larson, who was not a good person, right? He was part of Ponzi schemes and scams and fraudster, ripping people off. But he did this one amazing thing that captivated America for a week, which was on Press Your Luck. He didn't stop spinning because and the thing is, and by the way, in Press Your Luck, you get so many spins, but there are bonuses on the board. They're like $1,000 plus a spin, $1,500 plus a spin. He kept getting it over and over and over again, and it captivated the country for a few days because he became the luckiest man in America. People didn't know, and we found out later on that he had basically memorized the 60 number pattern and basically was kind of like counting cards. But it's illegal in Vegas. It's not illegal in a game show. Although I think it is now. I think they put in fine print. But anyway, at the time, it wasn't illegal in a game show. And this dude ends up going on to win $110,000, which is almost $400,000 in modern money, right? We were talking about the inflation of things earlier, right? And at the time was the record. He was the first man to ever win a 6-digit number in a game show. And honestly kicked down the doors. After that, $25,000 pyramid became $100,000 pyramid. Like, the numbers started to go up. People realized that this was a bigger deal. Bigger prizes usually meant bigger audiences, right? So it was a win, it was an interesting win for television.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Right. Well, yes, exactly. And then 20 years later, you have Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Or actually, it was more like 15. But anyway. And then Deal or No Deal, right? Like, you have all this other stuff. But what ends up happening is that it's a really interesting character piece on this dude who was kind of a loser in life, trying to make a grand gesture, trying to be a winner once, battling against the CBS execs, the execs trying to basically starting to figure out what I just said, where bigger numbers mean bigger audiences, and then him not letting them take advantage of him. And it's this really interesting power struggle that goes on. And again, it's just phenomenal acting all across the board. My only knock against the movie, Lee, is that I wish they could have gotten the original theme song from the game show. I don't know. I guess it was too much. They only had $1 million budget, so I guess it was too much in licensing.
No,
but
sucks.
yeah, but gosh, if you like game shows, folks, and also the little guy basically kind of pulling one over on folks on a corporation like a CBS. This is probably very apropos for the time. You probably would enjoy this. It's only 90 minutes. It's a great watch. Yeah,
there was a movie in the 90s called Quiz Show, right? Mm-hmm. About something similar that took place in the 60s.
Yep.
And what's funny about these movies?
Well, and like Slumdog Millionaire to agree, right?
That's a good one too. Yeah. Well, what's funny about all of them is that when you're younger, the question is, well, how did nobody go to jail over this stuff? Because it's not illegal. And, and the thing that you have to remember, and this is the dose of reality, is that these are entertainment shows. Now, I think you're right. I think that the FCC or somebody has put something in now that you got to kind of be honest on these things.
Yeah.
But it opens up a bigger world that I think a lot of people don't want opened up of. Their job's to get you to watch. And if that means someone winning over and over and over again, or if that means someone cheating the system or you giving them the answers, which has happened for you to watch. Now, if you get found out, that's going to end everything really quickly.
Yes.
But their job is to entertain you, not to be honest about that entertainment, which I don't agree with. Yeah. All right. But when you take a step out of this further, and you look at professional sports, the role of professional sports from a league standpoint is to entertain.
Yeah.
All right. It's to entertain. Now, I want to believe with every cell of my being that those contests are all fair and athletic, and that the best team wins every year. And I do believe that to be mostly true. Mm-hmm. All right. But they'll do anything to get you to watch. 90s baseball, late 90s baseball, anything. They'll turn a blind eye to steroids. It's all entertainment. And you better have a really good understanding of that when you're watching, that this is not meant to be fair. It's meant to be entertaining. Because if it was fair all the time, you might not watch. So I actually remember when this actually happened. That's how old we are now. But he went up the system, and good on him. But there's nothing illegal there, right?
Yeah.
But again, like you look at Craig Jennings on Jeopardy, like that was real, right? This guy is that smart, and but that was a good example of this guy wasn't getting the answers,
Yeah. And everybody watched. It was a big deal. Again, bigger money, bigger prize.
He's the host of Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do believe there are rules in place now that it's like you can't lie to the audience like this, right? But
even then, again, he did nothing wrong. He figured out the pattern.
He figured it out. He did it better than anybody else.
He's like, it's the same 60. It's the same 60 over and over. I mean, and then after that, they obviously upped it up to I think it was like 400 or whatever. But
right.
at the time, there's even a whole big thing where like a higher CBS executive comes on to David Strathern's character, and it was like 5 by 12. Really? That's it? That's all you did for the pattern? Of course somebody figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's not his fault. He
No.
just, like it just was.
No, he did it better. I'm going to say, he did it better than everybody else.
Right.
It's not even a one-up. It's just he did it better. He prepared and he did it better.
Yeah. That's it. And he memorized the patterns. And it's really, it's fascinating. And it did too, right? Like, it is on his first spin, he whammies, right? Which is accurate to like actually how the story went, is because he nerves and things like that. And that's why he stopped eventually too. He was mentally exhausted. People are like, well, why didn't you just run up the score even more? You try figuring out a 60 square pattern and see how long you can mentally hold that.
He also had enough. Yeah.
Yeah, he had enough. And there was also, again, and it's also, again, this is where the drama comes in. CBS starts needling him, trying to like mess with his head. They turn the lights up to try and make it hotter and everything. Like they don't want, it's a really interesting drama and character piece. And yeah, I just thought I found it very, very entertaining. And I think it was also a very interesting just slice of life that feels very 1984, right? Not the book, the actual year.
Yeah.
Yes. Where it's taking place. And again, it's a fascinating story. There's a lot of documentaries made about this too. If you haven't seen them, and if you're curious and like game shows as much as I do. So
right. Yeah. Great stuff, Ray. It says here on the sheet again, you're 40. You're 40 years old. Happy birthday, Ray. Welcome. No. This is a good thing. Welcome.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank
you. And thank you, everybody, for listeing or watching.
You're getting whisked away to a tropical island for your 40. That's awesome. Come on, be happy.
Yes.
Don't worry. Be 40.
On that note, save your dollars. Get ready to buy the Switch 2 in June. Enjoy the end of the regular seasons for the NBA and NHL. We'll be back in 2 weeks, folks. We'll break down WrestleMania. Oh yeah, WrestleMania. We got a lot coming on. Yeah, we'll be talking about early NBA and NHL playoffs. We'll be talking WrestleMania. And then whatever fun geekdom. I might finally beat Assassin's Creed by then. I don't know. I'm 60 hours into it. I'm not done
700
yet.
hours later.
Yeah, so we'll see what we can do. See it. But yeah, a lot of good stuff to look forward to. But until then, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. For Lee, I'm Ray. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports.
Don't worry, be 40. Woo, do, 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 do. Don't worry, be 40.